I used to be a night security guard at an old, abandoned factory in a remote part of town. The place had been empty for years, and I was the only one there during the night shift. It was lonely, but I needed the job. Most nights, I just patrolled the dark, empty halls, checking for any signs of intruders or trouble. It was a quiet job, and I'd often bring my headphones to listen to music to pass the time. One night, I was making my rounds, listening to some old tunes on my Walkman. The factory was as silent as ever, and the only company I had was the echo of my own footsteps. As I was passing by the decrepit employee break room, I heard a faint voice. At first, I thought it was the music playing tricks on me, but then I heard it again, a soft, eerie whisper coming from the room. I removed my headphones and walked closer, my heart pounding. The voice was low and raspy, like it hadn't been used in ages. "Help me," it said, barely louder than a breath of wind. My pulse quickened as I entered the room, scanning the dimly lit space. There in the corner, I saw an old, dusty vent, its metal cover hanging slightly ajar. The voice was coming from inside. I cautiously approached the vent and knelt down, peering inside. Two pale, trembling eyes stared back at me. They belonged to a gaunt, disheveled man who looked like he hadn't seen daylight in years. "Please," he whispered, his voice quivering. "You have to get me out of here. They put me in here and I can't take it anymore." I was taken aback by the sight of this emaciated man. I didn't know how he had ended up in the vent, but his desperate plea sent shivers down my spine. I knew I had to help him. I reached for the vent cover and began to pry it open. The man's bony hands reached out and I pulled him to safety. He stumbled out, gasping for air and thanking me profusely. He explained that he had been lured into the factory by a group of people who had trapped him in the vent as part of a sick game. He had been in there for days, surviving on scraps and rainwater that seeped through the cracks. As we made our way to the factory's exit, the man kept looking over his shoulder, his eyes wide with fear. He warned me that the people who had put him in the vent were still out there, lurking in the darkness. We finally reached the safety of my security booth and I called the police. They arrived quickly and took the man's statement. But when they went to investigate the factory, there was no sign of the mysterious group who had trapped him. To this day, I can't forget the man's desperate whisper from the vent, or the chilling feeling that someone was watching us. I'm just grateful I was there to help him escape from that nightmarish ordeal.